catch up on the new Rise of Skywalker trailer that dropped this evening. So let's just get into it. What did I think? Well, I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was bad. It's kind of funny. I kind of feel like I have some real muted enthusiasm for the new Rise of Skywalker. Um, I don't know. I'm not one of those huge haters. I didn't think Last Jedi was the greatest film by any means. I thought it was one of the weakest of the series. But I do have to admit, it kind of muted some of my enthusiasm for Rise of Skywalker. That said, the new trailer was pretty good. It really hit on some emotional beats in the sense where you see all those old friends. And really, with me, I'm finding as the new Disney Star Wars goes on, my real pull with these new movies are the old stuff. And every time I saw Lando or C3PO, that nice little line of, he wanted to see his friends one last time. Chewbacca, R2D2, they finally showed R2D2 in this. I was starting to wonder for a minute there. But, and they're definitely bringing Palpatine back. So it was nice that they didn't show him. I hope that they do kind of keep him secret up until the end. But internet being what it is, they'll probably have it end up being spoiled. So again, just watching it, how did I feel about it? I don't know. I feel like I should be a little more enthused than I was. I'll definitely watch it when it comes out. I think it'll be an end to the whole Star Wars things, and I think kind of after that, I might become a little bit more casual in my Star Wars watching. That's not to say I'm going to walk away from it or anything like that, but I think all the die-heartedness that I've had for the Star Wars saga, I think the saga ends here, as it were. What did I like about it? Some really nice effects. It looks like they're getting everyone together for this one, which I think is a good thing. The Star Wars movies always work best when they get all the core cast of characters together and to do one ensemble thing. I know some of the others have split up groups, but I think in light of the more shallow character development of the new sequel trilogy, I think they need to get these characters together and have them interact. And I think they need to have an adventure together. I think that was long overdue. They kind of hinted at it that they would do something similar in Force Awakens. Finn and Rey had some nice moments together. Poe and Finn had some nice moments together, but getting all three together, no. And I felt that should have at least been addressed by The Last Jedi, but it wasn't. The Last Jedi is what it is. It's a weird anomaly within the series. And I'm glad that they're finally getting everyone together, at least for this last hurrah. Is it going to wrap this series up the way it needs to? That's going to be the tricky part. I feel like everything I've read, everything I've seen, I kind of feel like what they're doing is they realize that the last film was divisive. Whether you're for it or you're against it or whatever, the last film was divisive. And I think it did split the fan base. Disney obviously will never own up to that. They'll never say mistakes were made or Rian Johnson took the film to places we didn't necessarily think it should go. They're going to remain tight. Honestly, we probably won't hear the real story until probably like 10 years from now when someone will be like, you know what, it's over. I can finally talk about this, and they will. So I don't think we'll ever truly know what happened behind the scenes outside of speculation at this point. But I can pretty much say maybe even 5 years from now, I think that tight knit, everything's fine, everything's great, we're all backing each other. I think that's going to erode over time, and I think we'll start getting the real feelings about what people thought of how disjointed this new sequel trilogy is. But now let's get into the trailer itself. There are a couple things that I've read some spoilers. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm not really opposed to spoilers this time. I don't know if it's just my mindset for this time, but I've been reading up on some proposed story ideas, and from what I'm gathering, especially in the scenes like the C3PO, scene, just from what little I could tell. The little creature was working on the back of his head, and he wanted to say goodbye. I don't want to spoil all that in case anyone watches the channel and they're like, I want to go into this blind. I'm going to respect that. What I can say without spoiling anything for other people is that I think some of those plot threads that I personally read, it looks like they're going to come true. It looks like certain things are going to be done. I'm sure there are always leaks and red herrings, and I'm sure they put out false information all the time, so you won't get the true story, but at least some elements are lining up to the early plot synopsis leaks that are out there. How do I feel about that? I have to admit, as a longtime Star Wars fan who's been there from the beginning, I find the idea that they're giving C-3PO a gun. I really have an issue with that, in the sense, without getting over emotional and dramatic, I kind of find it disgusting. I mean, what part of the fan base is saying, it'd be really cool if C-3PO had a gun and he started shooting people? Because whoever you are, however, all five of you, they're listening, and you're going to get C-3PO with a gun. I don't think that's a spoiler, because all the action figures have been leaked with C-3PO, Chewbacca's bandolier strap and his bowcaster. So C-3PO at some point is either going to be shooting things or carrying a gun, and I just find it kind of weird, and I find that really off-putting. I think fan service the movie. One of the cool things I did see in this last trailer, I saw the Ghost from Rebels, and I really enjoyed that series. I thought that was a fun series. I think this is going to be fan service the movie. You like Y-Wings, they're in here. You like the Emperor, they're in here. You like all the main characters, they're in here. Luke will probably be a Force ghost or a voice, or at least, or something. Will they try to squeeze in Harrison Ford for some little scene? It's implausible that he'd become a Force ghost, considering he's not an actual Jedi, but I don't think that would stop them at this point. I think it's going to be, here's all your favorite spaceships. Here's all your favorite characters. Here's all your favorite lines. And I think they're going to go through a checklist of everything that they know Star Wars fans like and want. They're going to give it to you in one last hurrah and correct some of the things that were done in The Last Jedi. And it's going to be fan service the movie. It's going to be Star Wars Episode 9, Please Love Me Again. And it's really too bad. I feel like I like fan service, and I like seeing things that are familiar and comfortable. Again, all the stuff that resonated with me were all the old actors, all the old characters, all the old moments and beats. And again, that's I don't know what that says outside of I find it troubling. I mean, it's comforting in the sense that I like that stuff, so I'm catered to. And okay, yay, all my check boxes are clicked off. But in a sense of trying to do something new and different, I think I don't know. It's going to be complicated, and I don't know if the sheer amount of course correction that they're going to do for this film, their attempts to heal the fractured fan base of Star Wars, because for better or for worse, Star Wars is not in a great place right now, I would say. I think it was pretty telling that every year they've had a Force Friday whenever a new Star Wars movie comes out. And like, for example, I went to episode 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8 at Toys R Us every time a new Star Wars movie came out, and it was a huge event. And there were toys and games and every conceivable Star Wars item you could get your hands on. Big midnight rush. They had specialty items giveaway. Well, things have certainly changed. Well, first off, there's no Toys R Us anymore. Secondly, what little I have seen is almost non-existent for items. They're so sparse, and even then they're still peppering in things, Darth Vader figures, because unless they just pull some weird screwy stuff, I don't see Darth Vader coming back. I could be wrong at this point, because the way they're kind of catering towards fan service, they might bring back Darth Vader. I keep thinking about what Red Letter Media said when Rich Evans and Mike were talking about time travel, if they were considering a time travel element. And considering the fourth season of Rebels, it's not implausible. There was one scene where Ezra Bridger rescued Ahsoka Tano from her designated waypoint in time from her death and pulled her back, and so changed the timeline. And now she was alive again instead of dead for a couple years, and just picked up and went from there. Are they going to try with the Star Wars version of time travel? They might. At this point, I wouldn't put it off the table. Mike and Rich might actually be correct in saying that they're going to try to correct ship with time travel. They're going to do whatever they can to retcon it. I know they're doing that unified front. Well, Last Jedi established as canon. We're going to stick to it. I think they'll do that probably. The most that they'll probably stick to is Luke will probably still be dead. I think that was probably the only real meaningful event in the last movie, and I didn't like it, and I've again read things where Mark Hamill didn't like it, but I think that was the only real meaningful event that happened in Last Jedi was the death of Luke Skywalker, and probably keep that one. Everything else, I'd say it's all on the table. And hell, they brought the Emperor back, and he was thrown down a reactor shaft in an exploding Death Star. I mean, if you can come back from that, you're pretty much good for anything, I would think. I don't know. It wasn't a bad trailer for what it was. I thought it was very nicely done. I thought they pulled on some emotional beats. Yes, I got a little misty-eyed seeing Carrie Fisher. Yes, I got a little misty-eyed with C-3PO's line. I like seeing Billy D. Williams back in action again. It looks like they're going back to Endor. It looks like they're doing stuff with the destroyed Death Star. I wonder if they're gonna do those fan theories of a nuclear holocaust on Endor, where entire segment of the forest moon is now decimated, and the Ewoks are feral. Maybe they'll pull out the Dulocs from the old animated series back in the 80s. I don't know. I mean, so it's kind of weird that they're doing it's Endor and the Death Star too, and the Emperor, and this is are they just going to do a retread of Return of the Jedi at this point? Oh man, I don't know. I feel like I should be more hyped. I'm gonna go see it. I just don't know what to think anymore. I feel my enthusiasm level is not where it should be, considering this thing is 2 months out from now. And I don't really see the enthusiasm. I just don't see the enthusiasm for this project all around. It just seems like they're very careful. This trailer was like 2.5 minutes. It's barely touched on anything. They have not released anything really. They're keeping this movie so close to their chest, and I don't think it's to prevent spoilers. I think in a lot of ways Disney's is a little scared of fan reaction, because I think whatever they do, the fan base is going to be keeping a very close eye on them. And if they screw up, this is hyperbolic and everything else, but I think if they screw up, I think this is really going to damage the Star Wars brand, possibly permanently. And they've got to get it right, or if not right, which I just don't see them doing, to be honest, at this point. But at least get it where they can kind of placate the fans, where a long-term fan like me is like, yeah, it's all right. And honestly, that's the best I'm hoping for. It's like, oh, it's okay. I don't expect to lose my mind over this, and I don't expect to have the true trailer reaction thing where I'm like looking like Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think I'm going to freak out and lose my business over this. But yeah, I don't know. I think this saga is going to go off and I think that's the best we're going to hope for. I hope it's good. I hope there's some fun parts. I don't know if it's going to be too fan servicey. I don't think they're going to try to alter the status quo as heavily this time. I think they're going to play it real safe. I think this is going to be a very safe, by the numbers film, in that they're not going to want to tick off any fan base. They're going to try to get back to the old style of adventure. They're going to try to reasonably retcon as much of The Last Jedi as they feasibly can. Oh, Kylo Ren was lying. That's not true. You know who your parents are, or whatever. I don't know. But I think they're going to try to retcon as much as they can without just utterly breaking this film or breaking all the other stuff that's happened before it. So they're kind of stuck, and I don't envy them. I think that's going to be a very hard challenge, and I've heard things about reshoots and multiple endings, and I guess we'll see on Blu-ray if Disney's still supporting physical media at that point. I'm sure everything will probably end up on Disney Plus at this point, but I don't know. I mean, I want to like it. It's not that I'm being all hatery for the sake of, my edgelord status needs an extra hole punch so I can get a free smoothie or something, but I want to like it. I don't know what to expect. My expectations are very low, and I find that unfortunate in a lot of respects. But really, that's it. It looks nice. The trailer looks nice. The music's good. I mean, how can you mess up John Williams? I'm glad that C-3PO is getting an expanded part because they basically sidelined him for the prequel trilogy, and they've almost completely sidelined for this trilogy, and now they bring him into the limelight with a gun. Yeah. So, which 5 of you asked for this? Nah. But yeah, it's gonna be fan service. The movie. Hopefully, Disney is praying that they're not going to take off too many people, and probably about 5 to 10 years, we're going to hear the real story about. Yeah, I hated this, and this all sucked, and yeah, I wish that hadn't happened because Last Jedi completely derailed all the great plans that we had going forward. Well, maybe you should stop killing all your main heroes. In light of Carrie Fisher's death, you couldn't have pulled that one scene where Luke disappears into nothingness. Have him around because obviously you need a main hero lead. I hope they explain Rey. What is her deal? She just became a full Jedi Master in a day in Last Jedi, and I hope they explain something about her because they built all this hype up in Force Awakens, and after that I was like, nah, that wasn't. I don't know. I just hope they answer some of these questions that Force Awakens proposed and Last Jedi was about. So we'll see. I don't envy them. Like I said, I don't envy them. This is going to be a hard mess to dig themselves out of because I don't think they're going to be able to answer questions or smooth over rough spots in the case of a 2-hour movie, 2.5. I don't know how long the runtime is for this, but I think no matter what they do, people are not going to be happy. I just hope to be okay with it by the end of it. That's all I can hope for. In any case, that is my thoughts on Rise of Skywalker trailer. I'm cautiously waiting for it to happen. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it. I just want to see how they wrap it up. It's more of a curiosity than a looking forward to it, but I hope they do something with it. I hope it works out okay. That's about the best I can do, and unfortunately, that's the hole that Disney has dug for itself. So we'll see. All right, you guys, thanks so much. I will see you that next time. Take care.